with people, and they think that talking about the mind is admitting to some level of poor mental health. And there's this disconnect that we have in society that we don't need to take care of our mind. We don't need to exercise the mind or think through things, that our mind will just take care of us. And I always say one of two things: either you are happening to life or life is happening to you. And I will tell you, if you are not taking care of your mind, then life will happen to you. And the way that we tell is, are you turning on the news and you just go into a state of frustration? Are you stressed out? Are you anxious? Are you driving into work and somebody cuts you off and your emotions just go out of control? Our trigger for ourselves is when we go into these states of what I call suffering, stress, anxiety, frustration, resentment, anger, embarrassment, boredom. These are all states of suffering. It's everything that we don't want to feel. And that should be our warning sign that, hey, something is going on. And it's not bad for us to feel these emotions. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about toxic positivity, because there is such a thing. But these are our signals to us that, hey, there's something that needs to be addressed. And we all deal with some level of, we get frustrated from time to time. I tell you what, when I am hungry and need to use the restroom, I get really irritated. That is not, I call it my perfect storm, because I'm just super irritated. I'm hungry and I have to pee and I can't think about anything else. I'm super irritated. We all go into these states of being. But I will be the first to admit that for 35 years of my life, I never questioned anything in my life. And I just was going through life. And so what would happen? Let's play the scenario out. So somebody would cut me off on, as I was driving into work or wherever. And I would get so angry and I'm yelling back at the person, and I'm, just saying things that I would never say to a human being's face, but I would say it because I'm driving in a car behind this much glass. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but I would say these things and then they would stay with me. They would stay with me for, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours. I'm like, oh, it would just put me in a bad mood. I was in a bad mood, and I allowed these things to stay with me, whether that be driving or somebody did this, so now I feel this way. And I kept them with me. I never dealt with them. I just allowed them to become me. I gave my happiness to all of these other people, places, things, and that was my life. And so many of us find, I am not the only one that found myself this way. And people, I see it all the time now that I've done a lot of work. And by the way, people say, oh, well, do you still need to do mindset work? This is something you have to do every day, every single day. It's like working out, like physically working out. You need to work your body every day in order to have the definition, the tone, the abs, the whatever it is, whatever your objectives are. You don't go to the gym once and A, get abs, and B, keep them forever. So it takes work. The mind is the exact same. So you're always constantly working on these things, but you start to become more aware of things when they happen in your life. And that is why we need to keep up with our mind every single day. So that's how we know if are you happening to life? Like, are you in the driver's seat, or is life just happening and you just go with it? You just go with it. And most of us are just going with life. And when we start to have the awareness that, hey, there's something more, there's something different, that's when we can make the decision to change and do something different. So we're going to launch into toxic positivity. We had a good start on that today. We're going to talk about it directly here in a minute. But if you would hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because that is how we grow this channel. And we want other people to have this same mindset in the morning talk as well. And the way that YouTube handles this is through their algorithm of likes and subscribes. So go ahead and hit that so that we can help other people as well, get them a good message. So, all right, with that, what is toxic positivity? And I don't think I heard about this term until I don't know, I guess until about COVID happened. I had never heard it before. I don't know if it's a new thing or if this has been around for a long time, and we just saw a lot more of it. So first, we saw, so the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, reported this is the last, I don't know, decade or so, we've toggled between 20 and 25% poor mental health. And really what that means is anything ranging from, mild depression to things that are more severe when we think of, schizophrenia, bipolar, things of this nature. Now, the schizophrenia, bipolar, that is a very, very small percentage, much smaller percentage than people that are dealing with some level of depression. I mean, who hasn't just wanted to stay in bed and thought, man, I'm not feeling good today. I'm feeling depressed. Is this all there is? And we get in one of those modes. I mean, it is so easy to just feel overwhelmed. There's a lot of things that are going on in life. And I would say the majority of us at some point in our life have dealt with some level of depression, whether it's for a duration of time or whether it's just for a Saturday and Sunday, it was like a weekend thing, or it's lasted longer. But the CDC reported that 20 to 25% over the last, decade, 2 decades, we've been about there as a society. After COVID, now the CDC is reporting that 40% of people have poor mental health. So we've nearly doubled what we were before COVID, because we were isolated, because we didn't have the human interaction, because people lost their jobs, their businesses. I mean, there was people, we lost people. There were a lot of things that were very heavy, and that caused us to not feel good about our life and our situation. And so a lot of people slipped into a level of depression, whether it be mild to severe, that didn't exist before COVID. And so we're coming out of that as a society and dealing through all of that. I would argue that there's still a lot more work that needs to be done, which is why we need to take care of our minds every single day, because we all have ownership in our own mental health. But out of COVID was the first time that I ever heard this word, toxic positivity. What the heck is toxic positivity? Well, to me, it's this. And this, I'm going to bet that this will resonate if you work in corporate. Hey, how you doing? How are things? Oh, living the dream. And I don't know how many times that was the response that either I gave or people gave to me when we talked about, how they're doing. Oh, living the dream. Like, I don't think anybody that actually says I'm living the dream is living the dream if they're in corporate. I think we just say that. It's just something, it's one of these canned answers that we just spit out, we say, but we don't really mean. And I think we all have this understanding of, yep, we're just managing, we're just getting through. Yep, we're just doing what we can to survive. And that's just what we say. We're living the dream. And I'll be honest, when I say now I'm living the dream, it is completely different than when I said it before, because I would say it all the time. I mean, that's just how we all addressed each other. Hey, how's it going today? Oh, living the dream, which meant that we didn't love our job, which meant we were just getting by, which meant we were tired of the crap at work and our coworkers and the commute into the office and all of the things. And we just boiled it down into living the dream. That's what that was. In fact, side note, somebody said, well, how do you know if you have a mindset problem? And I said, well, I don't know. It's those people that say I'm living the dream in the corporate office. They're the ones that, need to have some mindset work, because that was me. 100%. That was me. So when you are saying things just to be positive, when you don't feel positive, it's like you're being fake positive. When you're not feeling good, but you put pictures on Facebook like this, hey, or Instagram, hey, and you don't actually feel that way. That is what toxic positivity is. You are showing something other than what you are feeling. through your picture, through what you're saying, living the dream, or whatever you're saying, you don't feel the same way that you are telling people. It sounds it was a strange when I heard it. I'm like, toxic positivity. Can you be toxic by being overly positive? Is that what that means? But it means that you are that you are showing something that you are not, which means that you are not addressing the emotions that are truly going on inside, and you're just pushing through. You are pushing through. So, how do we deal with these? So, first of all, why do we not want to suppress these feelings? Well, first and foremost, you're not able to address them. And when we're not addressing things, all we're doing is suppressing them, but they're still there. You see, things don't go away because we turn a blind eye, because there's something inside of us that keeps going back there. Oh my gosh, I remember when this thing happened. Oh my gosh, this situation. Oh, I can't believe they said that. Oh, I can't believe they did that. So there is no just move on from it. We can learn to let things go, but you have to do the work to let things go. You don't just, I'm going to ignore that. It's like if your house was on fire. You don't walk away and the house, just like the fire, go away because you walked away. It's like when I used to drive my vehicle, at which I sold. But when I used to drive my vehicle and I would hear something under the hood, something would sound strange. So I turned the music up. That doesn't help. The problem is still there. If your house is on fire and you walk away, it's not going to just, oh, we'll just turn off. We'll just suppress ourselves. No, it's still there. And what happens if you leave a fire burning, if you don't address the noise in your vehicle? It gets worse. It gets worse. It's the same thing inside of you. If you have cancer, you don't just ignore it and it go away. Now, whether you choose to go to the doctor, whether you do some natural medicines, lots of prayer, whatever it is, whatever your solution is, but just leaving it to chance doesn't go away. That fire isn't going to put itself out. That car isn't just going to fix itself. Now, sometimes things work, little kinks out, and yeah, okay. But that's not how it works. We need to address them. So when we are not addressing things that are happening in our life that are making us angry and frustrated and stressed out and anxious, maybe somebody said something and and every time you think about it, you get really sad. But people, but how are you? Oh, I'm great. I'm great. Everything is perfect. Yeah, no, everything is really good. I am living the dream. And if you're not addressing it, then it's still there. It's still that fire inside of you that is burning. And you need to do the work so that you can let it go, so that you can free it from within you. So we need to address these things because we are denying ourselves of basic human emotions. We are not robots. We are going to feel things. We are going to get upset because we're human. It's natural. Even myself, I will tell you, I used to be so much more angry and I held on to things and I felt completely different than I do now. And I would say that I tend to be a positive person, but you know what? I'm not 100% positive all of the time. There are times that things come into my space. And now because I've been able to do the work and I can now I acknowledge when things are happening. I didn't acknowledge them before. This is how you know if you still have work to do. Are things just happening and you stay there? And that was me before. And now when things happen, I see them and it may take me a little bit of time. And I'm like, hold on, that is not where I want to be. That's not the person that I worked so hard to get away from. because it doesn't make us feel good to live in anger and frustration. It is work. It takes work to put that fire out. But when it starts to creep back up, you can't just ignore it, but you got to catch it. So acknowledgement is like the very first step. Hold on. Am I in a place of being that I don't want to be? And if the answer is yes, I need to work my way out of this, then you need to allow yourself those human emotions to process. Why am I angry? How can I work through this? What is another belief that I can have to change the situation? What do I need to let go? Who do I need to forgive? What lessons do I need to learn? And you do the work, but you catch these things as they're happening. So if you are being toxic, if you are going through toxic positivity, not if you're being toxic, but if you are going through toxic positivity, it is just being toxic on yourself, because you are denying yourself of human emotion and you are not allowing yourself to learn, to grow. It is okay for you to have emotions, and remember, it is okay for other people to have emotions. People need to process. We don't want to don't shame yourself for feeling these things, because sometimes we feel guilty. I think especially women. Oh man, I really shouldn't feel this way, but I do. I shouldn't feel this way, but I do. Well, who's making the rules here? Is there a rule book of how you should feel? If you feel something, it's valid and you need to work through it. If someone else is feeling something, then it's valid and you need to allow them to work through it. I had a situation the other day and I was talking with someone and I was feeling a certain way. And I've become very, very open and honest and vocal about things. And I said, look, this is how I feel. And she got very defensive. And I said, look, I have to talk through these things, because for me, this is not something that I want to keep inside, because it's just going to bubble up into something much bigger. And if I don't address it, it's not fair to me to have these feelings, and it's not fair to you for me to have these feelings about the situation. So I need to talk through it. So that is my approach. And my observation is that people have become so toxic positive that we just show everything's okay, everything's okay. And we don't talk through these things, that even as a society, we're not there yet. We don't accept other people's feelings as valid the way that we should. And so I had to say several times, hey, look, how I feel is valid. And it's not fair for me to feel these things. And it's not fair for you for me to feel these feelings about the situation that we're in. So let's talk through it. How do we get on the same page? So when you or someone else is going through something, don't feel guilty. This is human. They are human feelings. Don't shame yourself. Don't shame other people. Work through them. Don't keep that fire burning. So as you go out into the world today and you are dealing with yourself or you are dealing with other people, allow emotions to happen and deal with them. If someone comes to you, allow them to talk and work through it, because there is a fire that is burning in them and they need to talk through it. How do you get through something if you don't address it? So always be looking for the lessons, always be looking for the growth. Allow yourself to feel these feelings. That's how you are going to grow into someone that is having a life that you truly love. And it doesn't mean that you won't ever feel emotions, because you will. We're human. You have to feel emotions, but you will notice that you will spend less time in these states of suffering. And then when they start to creep up, you go, hold on, that's not the person that I want to be. I got to work myself out of this. I got to do the work. And you will. And you will be stepping into that beautiful life. So allow yourself and allow others to feel those emotions, work with them, work through it with yourself, with others. And let's all work on elevating ourselves, not suppressing them and just living the dream. All right. Self-care Saturday, self-care Sunday, because today's Friday. So go do some self-care this weekend and report back. Let me know how you're doing, how you're feeling. And if there's a topic that you want to talk about, jen.sugarmeyer@gmail.com. Let me know what you want to talk about or something that's going on with you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you do some self-care this weekend, and